Hello again, everyone. Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 Season, the 2022 Full Circle Racing Designs Next Gen mod at Next Gen Atlanta, which might be pretty fun. We're pretty good at plate-type tracks, so as you can see, qualifying, those guys definitely picked it up and laid it down, but both myself and Brandon are shotgun on the field. He's in that 27 A-Shock Toyota, and we are, of course, in our Tides of Avarice X4 Camaro, ready for 40 laps here at Atlanta, and should be very fast, very fun. We'll mind our P's and Q's on this initial start, and green flag is out. And what we're anticipating are these guys really starting to push, possibly 3 wide, and with this track as fast as it is, we'll definitely make sure that we get some good runs and approach it methodically for sure. These guys are not going to be able to get away from each other, so almost like a Daytona, we'll be sort of in the back, using that bottom line to our advantage and trying to make our way forward. And you can see that bottom line up front really connected up. That kind of looks like Christopher Bell perhaps up front on the initial start, but 3 wide down into turn 1 for those leaders. And we're just on the lookout for anything going bad. You can see up top Ricky Stenhouse Jr. scraping that green wall. And if that is going to choke up that high line, more power to us. Michael McDowell trying to put him in the middle 3 wide, but up front you can see 3 by 3 by 3, and that's what we are sort of anticipating against on the flat. Chase Elliott down to the bottom, hooks Blaney, and up back into traffic. They get away with it, and that was tight for sure. Or that was Cendric. So Cendric's got a parachute out the back, just sort of following Brandon through here, and now we've got 2 distinct packs. So still 3 wide right in front of us, and yeah, we've got the speed, but we're just going to... Whoa! Car way out of shape, down to the grass. That's going to be a big one. Yellow flag is out, and that looks to clean out the entire lead pack, and that is what we were afraid of. No ARCA brakes here. We are going to slow down and get through this crash. And man, both Penske cars involved, both Trackhouse cars involved, both Petty cars involved. This is going to be interesting to dissect. So at 1/3 speed, it looks like, yeah, the 99 comes down into the 10 while Brad Keselowski is trying to get under the 21. So Suarez, the wrecking ball, causes Keselowski to spin, locks it up into traffic, and then Suarez comes up, and that is the closer. Kyle Busch almost gets away with it. Bell involved, Blaney involved, Custer involved, everyone slamming up into the wall. Here comes Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick. Kurt Busch with nowhere to go, and Ryan Blaney on his lid over and over, and it is a log traffic jam into turn 1. Let's look at it in real speed. So here they come out of 4. There's the hook by Suarez. Almirola down to the inside. Brad with nowhere to go. Up into traffic, hard into the wall. And those guys trying to get it slowed down, and it was an accordion effect log jam. And if you happen to be sitting in the stands, this is what you would see, just plowed into turn 1 with nowhere to go. There's me and Brandon in the back, slowing up, and hard hit for sure. And let's go on board with Blaney. You can see that it gets really bad to the inside. He's up with nowhere to go. And this initial second hit is when it goes over. We lose the camera for a bit. Blaney gets it righted, and that is going to be massive point implications for these guys for sure. So an interesting bit of strategy on this yellow. They're pitting, but they will be out of their fuel window. So myself and Brandon are going to go around one more time to make sure we are definitely within that fuel window. Take 4 tires since we're already in the back anyway, and let it rip and see what happens. And down on pit road, you can see service being done still to some of those cars, even though we went an extra lap around. Let's get 4 tires and fuel, boys. Let's go. So an interesting bit. Brandon looks like he took fuel only. So an interesting strategy play. Are we going to be able to get any of these guys off of pit road? There goes the 42. LaJoy comes out, almost contact with the 42. And yeah, some of these guys have their right sides up, trying to fix that damage, I assume. So a lot of wrecked race cars, not only in the garage, but on pit road as well. so we'll make up a lot of spots here and get ready for that restart. Coming to lap 9, and how about that? Daniel Suarez is leading this group. However, I don't think he is the actual leader. I think he should have gotten the wave around in modern rules, but we're in 11th. And getting ready with 4 fresh tires with some broken cars all around us, waiting for that green flag to drop, and there we go. Rag in the air, and away we go. Up through the gears well, and now that we have some damaged race cars on the track, we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive through here. We don't have to worry about the big pack, I don't believe, really checking things up, so we'll make our way around BJ MacLeod for position, and hard charging down on the bottom, Brandon under Harrison Burton. We'll think better of it, but Brandon makes that 3 wide work, hanging right behind William Byron. Oh, and BJ MacLeod fights back on that high side. Looks like the 2 of Cindric is holding up that top. Truex moves down to get away from Cindric, and I bet he's got a bit of a parachute out the back of his car. But we want to make sure that our car stays right on that yellow line and no pressure from behind, so we can move forward as we need to. So we'll get around Cindric. Keep it right on that white line, and Cindric will drop back. There's Daniel Suarez with his rear damage. Definitely slow and off the pace, so he was leading this pack on the initial start, and you can see his straight line speed is not where it needs to be. We'll go around Daniel. And Brandon trying to make the move under Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch. So the brothers nose to tail here. Good run off the 78, and finally it looks like we're starting to get some single file. I think the pack is not going to really stick together much with these damaged race cars. We'll get that pull off of Gilliland and Kurt Busch. And Brandon sets his sights on Timmy Hill, and 3 wide in front with, it looks like, Custer, Truex, and LaJoy. So an interesting grouping of cars there. Really good run on that high side. We'll try to make that right side stick, keep that right front fender in the air, and we are clear of the guy behind. So it's all out front for now, passing Kurt Busch with some side damage, and 3 wide in front with Kyle Busch, and putting Stenhouse up top. LaJoy tries to follow through, and we make up a lot of time through that series of corners, and we leave Kurt Busch behind. So making these 4 tires work as best we can. The leaders are starting to gap up just a little bit. We'll keep that high side momentum rolling around Gilliland, and trying to think, do we want to take that outside around LaJoy? We'll think better of it. Get down to the bottom if need be, since LaJoy is all alone in the combat zone, and hug that yellow line. Try to get the run on Gilliland. Brandon right there around Hill, looking to the inside. Hill almost into Stenhouse with that broken car, and Brandon slips off the bottom a little bit. We'll take advantage right down to that Geico restart zone, and we will start working on Timmy Hill to the best of our ability. Around Suarez, Brandon follows us through on the bottom, and with that rear damage on Timmy Hill's car, we'll get a sniff and down back to the yellow line, and trying to make that charge on the 14, who is definitely slow here. Cody Ware up top. We'll follow Cody around that outside and not give up our momentum. Use him to get that pull down to the bottom and see if we can start sniffing on Kyle Busch here. And Brandon follows us through on the bottom as well. He is clear, but Cody Ware still up top. And I don't know if not changing tires has hurt Brandon's overall grip and speed. But we'll see how the race plays out. One more caution could reel everyone back in, and we're starting to give up a little bit of grip. Had to get out of the gas a little bit in 3 and 4, but thankfully there's a broken car in front of us we can start catching. I believe that's Austin Dillon missing his rear clip. And Kyle Busch making some positive moves forward under Martin Truex Jr. So some Toyota power out in front. And indeed, we're starting to close the gap on Dillon, and no pressure in the mirror. So it is still all out front, trying to make positive gains. And if we can keep in this drafting train, we'll be able to do some leapfrogging and not lose any speed. But if those guys start to get really out in front and losing the draft, we may be sort of stuck in place. Good run down the backstretch. We're getting a pull off Austin Dillon now for sure. And he's kind of slow on entry. I think that's where we're making the most, is our tires are able to really grip that corner entry around Austin Dillon. Doesn't put up much of a fight. And Truex is next, followed by Kyle Larson. So we'll follow Martin in, try to take care of our stuff, get a good launch from the middle, diamond the corner a bit, keep that grip on the bottom, and Truex fighting back on that high side. If Kyle can get down to the bottom, we'll pull off of him. Kyle leaves the middle lane. Okay, we'll take that on the bottom. Truex fading back as well, and these guys might be on some old rubber. Definitely making passes a little bit easier than earlier in the race for sure. Oh, Kyle Busch driving it into turn 2, gets up into the wall. He's scraping. That'll slow him up, possibly bring William Byron and Kevin Harvick back to us as well. That would be ideal. And indeed, we're really starting to catch this pack. Denny Hamlin slowing up Joey Logano and Kyle Busch. We'll hook that bottom, get a twofer. Harvick and Byron. Nicely done down to the inside, and Kyle cannot get around his teammate. So Denny Hamlin up top. Kyle's been damaged. So we don't want to go 3 wide. We'll give a shove to Kyle, see if he can get around Joey. And there he goes, helping Kyle out and gaining some spots in the process. Now we'll grab Kyle. Ty Dillon heading to pit road. Awful late in the race to be doing such things as these. We'll make the pass on Kyle and set sight on Harrison Burton, who is having a good run. Maybe not in that crash, didn't get any damage, and is really picking him up. Good pull down the backstretch on Harrison. We should be able to make up a lot of time here. And yeah, about mid-corner, you can see him sort of get loose, have to catch the car, but we're able to hold that middle groove and carry that speed to the outside, and laps are ticking by very quickly here, hardly lifting, barely cracking the throttle and back in it, and just trying to make any positive gains. And a lot of cars are starting to appear out of the windshield. And I believe that is the leader right there, Eric Almirola, on a hard charge. Interesting enough, coming to pit road. So these guys are short as I had anticipated. So around the 47, we're going to try to stay out here as best we can. We're going to be on really old tires. So those guys who just pitted are going to be miles away faster. And we'll watch for Chase Briscoe to pit. No, we're going to be short as well, so we're going to come down. And since we took 4, we might be able to get away with 2 here. Let's get those tires on, boys. Let's go. Yep, 4 tires all around. Here comes the rest of the pack. So pit stops are going to shake things up for sure, but no damage to fix. We're down and away. So they kind of tipped our hands. We do not want to be out on that racetrack on old rubber. That is for sure. They would start really putting some lap times down and leave us in the dust. So we'll make the pass on all these guys. Don't know if they're doing 2 or 4. But down and away, let's get up to speed and find our blend. There goes Almirola there, and I think he will assume the race lead. So we need enough time to get up there and get him. So he's going into turn 3 right there. And our only hope is if he's using up his stuff trying to stay out front. No pressure in the mirror from behind, but they're starting to grow. Yeah, looking to the inside, Brandon with a head of steam. Brandon might have pitted 1 lap ago, so he has all that momentum. So we'll follow him through. We know he is very fast, equally as fast as us. And we'll see if we can start really catching these leaders here. First car up will be Ty Dillon, and he has damage, so we should be able to make quick work as far as that is concerned. And he is getting a pull off of other damaged race cars as well. And then a big gap. out in front of that damaged race car. So, yeah, we've got some speed to make up. There is Briscoe coming off the bottom. We should be able to clear him just fine. Indeed, we are at speed, and around we go. And 2x2, that's what we like to see. Looks like Bowman up top trying to slow down the 42, and Brandon will go make it a twofer. And we'll get the pull off of those cars. Oh, wow, Bowman turned down and tried to take us out. That was a little bit sketch. Granted, we were probably on a part of the racetrack that we shouldn't need to be. But still, we were so much faster. That was really dangerous. Someone called the stewards. So good center run, that is for sure. I don't think we will move to pass Brandon unless it is absolutely necessary. We'll try to take care of our stuff here, roll out a little bit earlier, make sure we stay right on that bottom. You can see Brandon's middle corner speed is pretty fast, and overall we're gaining on those next 3 cars. I believe that's Ryan Blaney, the next car to catch. And slowly and surely, yeah, it's going to be a tall order, I think, but historically the AI cars really did lose a lot of speed late into the run, so if there are no more yellows, this will play into our hand. As another car comes into view in the middle of 3 and 4, that could be Eric Almirola, the leader. So if we start chewing into this lead bit by bit, we might get there in time. It is going to be close. We need these 3 cars to help us out and go down without a fight. And it looks like that Penske car is losing the draft there of Blaney. And nose to tail, that might be trouble. Those 2 cars in front of him, if they end up scrapping with one another and getting into the wall, that will unseat our entire strategy. And it looks like Reddick trying to pressure Stenhouse. But Brandon should be getting a pull off of Blaney now, so he's going to really be picking up speed. And you can see the middle of his corner, he's actually using that high groove, carrying as much speed into the corner as he can down the back stretch to get that pull. And we are certainly there now, that is for sure. Hopefully Blaney will not make this difficult for us as we catch these 2. Blaney's still holding on to those 2 cars in front of him. And here's our run. We should be able to get Blaney in turn 1 and 2. Brandon with the juke. Blaney rides the middle and really takes Brandon's line away. Blaney playing defensive even though he's way off the pace. There goes the pass. We will follow under the bottom. And that was Cendric making those moves. Couldn't tell there's no rookie stripes on the fuel cell. And Reddick has finally gone for the pass under Stenhouse as well. That will help, but also hinder, as these guys are going to be slower, both of them, but then they're blocking our path. Yeah, we need to get around these Chevys quick, fast, and in a hurry. So Brandon looks to the inside. He'll go 3 wide. We'll follow him through. And Reddick almost pushes Stenhouse up. So we'll get around Stenhouse, and we'll see the middle speed. Yeah, Reddick loses a little bit of middle speed. And around Reddick we go. Now it's just eyes out front. All the speed we can possibly muster here. I don't think those cars in the mirror are going to catch us. We definitely need more of those cars to tangle with one another, but not to the point of yellow. A quickie yellow would be fine. We'd be right up front where we need to be. But then again, I think our strategy is playing out well into our hands. In fact, other cars are on pit road again. Looks like Suarez finally got that rear clip taken off. I don't know if he got more damage or they just decided to finally complete that repair. But if guys like Stenhouse or Cendric can get in the way of our leader, that would be awesome indeed. Although very dangerous with the speed difference. I imagine most of these guys would be pulled off the track for not maintaining minimum speed at this point. The clicking laps and the tires are starting to give up a little bit. You can see Brandon washing up just a touch, and as we go deeper into this run, as fast as we're going, the tires will start to fall off quite substantially. it'll almost be like a cliff. But so far, we're able to hold that yellow line, and Brandon's starting to slip up just a bit off the corner. We'll take a look to the outside here, see if we can get something done. We'll roll out a little bit, see if we can cut the bottom here. We know Brandon likes to run that middle, so if we can make something stick on the yellow line, we'll take it. And a little bit more middle corner speed. He's got the exit, so we'll drop back in line. And Brandon looks like he sees our speed and is letting us go here. We'll make that pass on the bottom, and we'll see if he can hook on and follow us through. We'll be the one making the holes today. Next up, it looks like Cody Ware. And Brandon really is having a tough time holding that middle. That looks like where we are strongest. And yeah, that 51 is way off the pace. We'll hope that he stays up. Yes, indeed, he stays way out of the way. Thank you, Cody. And white flag is out looking for Eric Almirola. I think that's him in the middle of 1 and 2 there. So that is the leader right in front of Corey LaJoy. And he is really hurting that middle corner speed, and a car coming off pit road. Everything's coming up Millhouse if we can get this right. Under the 7, Almirola moves down to block. We'll roll that outside, carry that speed, and kept it out of the wall, and we will take the checkered flag at Atlanta with a last lap, last corner pass on Eric Almirola. He needed that win. So we will come across the line in first. Second, Eric Almirola. Brandon comes in third. Fourth, Denny Hamlin. Fifth, William Byron. Sixth, Joey Logano. Seventh place, Harrison Burton. Eighth place, Kevin Harvick. Ninth place, Martin Truex Jr. And rounding out your top 10 is Kyle Larson. And there seems to be a little post-race activity just outside pit lane. Don't know what Cody Ware did to deserve that, but Brandon obviously felt he was wronged at some point. Yeah. So the standings after Atlanta, we take the point lead with 7 wins to Brandon's 6. Joey Logano, pretty free and clear. Tyler Reddick is your cutoff driver, just 3 over his teammate Austin Dillon. Kyle Busch barely hanging on, 4 points to the good. And it is still pretty close after Atlanta for sure. Next week, we head to the Magic Mile up in New Hampshire for another race, but that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for New Hampshire. Take care.